Welcome back to Old School Eats. I am Derek, Old School Fournier, and if you thought we had enough ways to deep fry shit here, you were wrong. We have added another one, and we're going to be doing wings two different ways on Old School Eats. I was sitting getting ready to figure out what we would do for our next video, and I watched an old Chud's barbecue video. Bradley Robinson, badass. If you don't watch him, I don't know how you don't. But he was using a Bayou Classic deep fryer, which is the other one of these you've probably seen 1,000 times. And I thought, wow, why would there be a difference? We've got electric deep fryers. I've done deep frying on my Blackstone, in my hotel pans. But this one actually uses a tunnel, which we'll show you in some of the footage, for essentially a blowtorch behind it. So the heating element is sort of in the middle of the oil. So the hottest point is on the bottom when your sediment drops down and can burn and kind of make your oil off tasting. So I looked for the Bayou Classic. My buddy Malcolm and I went to a couple of stores today, and as it turns out, they were not available. This is RV Works, which is a cold rolled steel as opposed to stainless, heavier, holds temperature a little bit better. We went to Bass Pro Shop, which I am embarrassed to admit I don't spend nearly enough time in. I almost had my man card revoked. I walked in, it was like walking into Disney World with dead animals. It was fantastic. I just wish we had cameras rolling. So we wandered through there, and lo and behold, this was available. A young lady named Pam stopped talking to her daughter long enough to help us purchase this and the stand, which, don't be misled, despite having a wheel and kickstands, is not meant to actually move this around according to the instructions. Though we think it's because you don't want to do it with 4 gallons of oil. That's right, 4 gallons of oil go into this thing. We'll be deep frying today wings, but I have all sorts of plans for it in the future. And we will show you how this is assembled, put together, and then we're going to find a place for it out here because it's going to live here forever. So one of the things that we saw people talking online about is you can actually leave your oil in this cooker. I saw a guy, video production wasn't great, but he talked about how you could leave the oil. I don't know that I would ever trust that in Florida. Florida's kind of a gross place. It's not quite Australia kill you, but it's real close. But I do think you have some latitude with how you handle your oil. The nice part is with that sediment going to the bottom and the ball cock valve, whatever on the back, makes taking your oil out, filtering it really pretty easy. We can move it away, or I can go around the side and do into a larger vessel rather into these little 1 gallons. I can get one of the big ones. So reusing oil will be really, really easy. So if you're going to deep fry a lot, like if you're somebody who does fish fries or other stuff like that, something like this could be a godsend. For us over Christmas, I think it's going to be great. This is our 4th gallon of oil. Obviously, you can use whatever oil you want. We're going to be using vegetable oil today. Peanut oil is probably very popular. We saw a big, was that a 4 gallon, I think, at Ace Hardware? I think peanut oil, but it was a blend. It was peanut and something else. It was like $60. So getting to a point where you reuse your oil, filter it, keep it clean, keep it sanitary, will be super important. So that's our 4th gallon. I am going to be really interested to see whether or not 4 gallons is sufficient, because I don't think it is after looking at this. Even though this is a 4-gallon cooker, I think you need more than 4 gallons to get this thing full, but I'll let you know. Okay, so we filled up our new cooker with 4 gallons because this is a 4-gallon cooker. And as it turns out, that's insufficient. We needed 5 gallons. Now, if Malcolm will come over here with the camera, there are 2 levels for the cool little baskets. This top level, which has you out of the oil, and then this level, which is the cooking level. Now, at 4 gallons, you only got about 1 rung up on the basket. Now, we went and looked at the books, which were, let's call it Spartan. So we added 1 more gallon of cooking oil. It looks like we could probably add another ½ gallon. I don't think there's any limit. This is really just a bucket of oil that a blowtorch heats up. There's nothing magical about this. There's no PID controller. There's no algorithms. This is just hot ass fire applied to oil, cook food. And if you go much lower than this lower rung, you're sitting on the tunnel that actually takes the hot air from the propane in the back, which is expelled through the vent. So 5 gallons in. We then tested it, almost blew my head off because I'm an idiot. Actually, Malcolm's the idiot. He had it on a little bit too high, but I'm not dead. The instructions tell you to turn on very low after you have the fire down there. Get it like a pilot light and then turn it up. I'm here to tell you, if you don't do this stuff often, and many of you have a much cooler man card than I do, so you're like, this guy is such an idiot. I can't believe he's never done this before. This is really cool. Sounds like a damn jet engine when it's on full. So we're going to go in, prep our wings, and then get back out here and start cooking. Just to give you a little bit of lay of the land, We're going to do what we call naked wings and what we call breaded wings. I'll explain why I'm so persnickety about that. And then we're going to do 2 sauces, and then we're going to start eating. We're back inside the kitchen, and the first thing you have to talk about when you talk about wings is naked or breaded. Now, if you're a Floridian or you've been to Florida or you like Hooters, this used to be the way we described wings. If they didn't have breading, they were naked. That was the end of the discussion. It had nothing to do with sauce. There was no ideological differences. It really was, do you put some bread on the shit or do you not? At some point, I think it was roughly around 2005, Hooters became really esoteric about this. I refuse their new definitions, and I support only naked being not breaded. You can sauce naked wings, you can sauce breaded wings. We're gonna do both. But because I like seasoning, we're gonna season all of our wings with just some basic salt, pepper, garlic. We're gonna put the larger portion, which can be naked, on a rack to go kind of dry out a little bit in the fridge. Then we're gonna prepare a breading. For our test today, and because we're gonna have some extra for dinner, we're gonna do about a 1/3 breaded to 2/3 naked. Because to be honest, I haven't done breaded wings in quite some time. So I'll explain the breading we're gonna use, and if it comes out like shit, it came out like shit, no big deal, experiment failure. But for now, we're gonna hit these guys with some salt, pepper, garlic. I'm using my Cosmo Q SPG, which I'm almost out of. So you'll see over here, I switched to our house salt, pepper, garlic. I actually like theirs better. I'll order some more. There's no magic to this. Just get someone all the wings. I'll get in there with my gloved hand, toss them around a bit. You guys heard me talk about this little expandable pan that I got. I feel bad, I can't remember the name of the manufacturers, but this is really super handy. I had one a million years ago where they only had one size, it was smaller. Now they have different sizes, so if you want to do a brisket, you can do your brisket in these things as well. And there's a cutting board on the bottom. So, oh, and this one has a lid too. Instead of using all your aluminum pans, your hotel pans, you can do that. So these guys are all basically seasoned up with just salt, pepper, and garlic. And I'm gonna get them off onto this rack, and then we'll move on to breading. So we've been debating back and forth about how to do this breading, because to be honest, I don't often bread wings at home when I cook them, because it's just kind of a pain in the ass. Normally what I'll do is I'll just do like a dry coating and then hope it sticks. It's like a spray and pray method, and I don't wanna do that. So I looked at a couple of different recipes, and if you guys are used to coating foods, sometimes you'll soak things in like buttermilk. We were talking about a lot of times with fried chicken, people use buttermilk. The person that we had found most often, or the recipe found most often, had like eggs and milk together that they soaked the chicken in. The reality is, you're doing layers of wet and dry to try and create that crust and adhere it to the skin of the chicken. So I've got 3 eggs here. It's funny, when I was putting them in the bowl, I always love it when Sam the cooking guy does eggs, because he always makes a mess out of it with his shells. So I'm gonna whisk these together. Doing this in the least efficient way possible, it would appear. Also the messiest way. Into some whole milk. Gonna incorporate the whole thing. Any of you who are real cooks out there at this point are going, what the hell is this idiot doing? Well, I'm kind of doing my own thing. And y'all can either like it or not, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm now gonna take the chicken that we're gonna bread, and I'm gonna dump them all in there. Let them get, as our friend Emerald used to say, let them get happy. What happened to Emerald? I haven't seen him in a while. So this next part is going to be inherently messy. I'm gonna let these guys sit in here for a second while I chat with you fine folks. Now there's no magic to that as far as I can tell. This isn't a brine process or anything chemical. I'm just letting them get wet. Then I'm gonna take them out. If I were smart, I'd probably glove up my other hand. But since I only have one clean hand, that would be problematic. So we'll do it this way. No, I'm gonna have to do that. We'll cut and come back. So the reason we did that is to have ostensibly what would be a wet and a dry hand. And I've now made them the opposite side of where they should be. So this is more clear indication that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So we're gonna reverse our order. Magically that pan moved. But what's nice is you are getting some good stick here. So we'll go back into the milk, get a little dunk. Not as much will adhere. Go back into the dry. Once you get enough dry on it so your other hand doesn't become a mess. This is a tack that I've seen Sam use. I also saw someone who did fish do this. You really kind of pack that on there. All that's in this breading, by the way, I didn't really go into that very detailed, is all-purpose flour, paprika, salt, pepper, garlic. And I'm a huge proponent of tasting your flour. Make sure that you can actually taste the seasonings. You're not trying to season the hell out of it, but you do want it to be seasoned. You want to be able to notice that it's seasoned. So the dry wet dry model here is working pretty well. I think if Malcolm zooms in, you can see that that's working pretty well. We're gonna get these guys a little bit wet again. I love that when you do it the second time, there's not as much of the wet that sticks to it. And all I'm doing, again, this is a bit of a remedial course for the folks out there that know how to do this real well. Anyone who's cooked fried chicken does this better than I do. I'm really just trying to get it coated. Give it a little shake. And you kind of want those little crackles. So I'm gonna keep doing these. I've only got about 15 wings we're gonna bread. We'll get them ready, we'll put them in the fridge outside, let that fridge kind of dry things out a little bit, and then we're gonna get to the oil. We're back out in the meat palace, and one of the things we have to do is make an Asian sauce. I really don't know shit about Asian cuisine. I know generally speaking, Asian sauces have like sweet chili sauce, soy, lemongrass, stuff like that. So I found a couple of recipes online, but I am notoriously bad at both following recipes and posting recipes. So this channel really isn't about finding out the fine minutia of culinary stuff. I can tell you I used all of this stuff in this sauce. It started with a little bit of oil, a ton of, I use, my wife doesn't like using soy, so we use aminos. So I use that. I use some of a really good honey, so she's gonna be pissed because the other honey wouldn't come out of the jug. Brown sugar, and then some garlic, ginger, and lemongrass paste. I learned about these from Sam the Cooking Guy. I agree, I think they're awesome. And the point is, we're just gonna get these all incorporated over a low heat and then reduce this sauce down. Again, no magic here. So we've got this on my little induction cooktop out here.
Hold on, dude, hold on, the thing went off.
Okay, then we've had some technical difficulties. I'll try and fix it in editing. If the audio is not great here, apologies. I would say in advance, but it's in the current because you're probably listening to it. So we've got this sauce. It's really got a bunch of Asian flavors. It's got aminos, which are soy sauce, a chili paste, or chili sauce, a little bit of vegetable oil, honey, lemongrass, ginger, garlic, and brown sugar. Now, I'm bringing that together, and what I want to do is actually reduce it to get down to a glaze or a sauce, because we're going to toss some of those wings in. So really, it's about getting the temperature up, getting this to cook down, because the base is that soy sauce or the aminos you use. That's the most liquidy thing that's in here. So it's cooking down now. It's going to take a little bit of time while we're doing our wings, and I really want to taste it, but I bet if I put this on my tongue right now, I'd end up in the ER. So the real thing that I want to make sure of is that I get the sweetness, because the salty will be there. There's plenty of things that give salt, and I apparently don't know how wind dynamics work with this stupid napkin. It's driving me nuts. But I want the sweetness there. That's coming from the brown sugar and the honey. So I'm gonna let this cook down a little bit more. We're gonna go over to the, I don't know what we're gonna call it, the fryer. We don't need to call it, we don't have to whore out to RV Works. They didn't pay us anything to have it. But Malcolm got that to 350, and it's staying rock steady. And I gotta tell you, as someone who's used the electric fryers before, and the Blackstone, which works really well, it keeps everything outside, I'm loving the concept of this super fryer, as simple as it is. Hot ass air, heating a bunch of oil to a fixed temperature. In fact, he said when we test fired it, we just turned it on to make sure. That's the time I almost killed myself. And it already got the oil to 100 degrees. So I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna drop this temperature down a little bit, which I can do because we're using an induction cooker. I can control that, let this reduced. Smells good. It doesn't smell sweet enough. You may be asking yourself, how the hell can he smell sweet? You don't get this girthy without being able to smell sweet. So we'll check back with the sauce after we cook some wings. Good. Our oil's where we want it to be. We had it go out because we turned it down a little bit too low because I'm an idiot. We got our naked wings about ready to go in. Our Asian sauce is simmering over there. It's reduced. Now it's go time. So we're gonna put these wings in the basket. These are just seasoned. You might hear a little bit of sizzle. They say don't overload the basket sometimes, but I think with this kind of a fryer, it's not really that big of a deal. That said, I've got 2 baskets, so there's no reason not to use them. So this is our first full load of what we're calling naked wings. I've got them balanced. Gonna go down with the first one. Give it a little shake. Now the water that's in there is gonna boil out, and so you don't want to have a boil over, so you wanna make sure you pay attention to it. Both baskets are down. We're sitting at about 375 on the temperature. This is one of the reasons why you do not cook with these with the lid down. You leave that lid open so that the steam can come out. And that's true with anything you're cooking. I know that, and I can say it definitively because I watched the video, so I are an expert. So these wings are cooking. I wish I could tell you there's a magical way to know they're done. You really just got to monitor them. What I've heard online is it takes between 10 and 15 minutes to cook them. They're going. Our temperature dropped a little bit, but it's holding pretty rock steady, which is fantastic. I'm gonna get my instant read out of the drawer. We'll come back and check them and temp them and get some color checks. We've gone almost 10 minutes. These guys look done to me. Gonna make Malcolm get a little look at them down there. Gonna sit out of the oil for a second. We'll temp them. Chicken, 165. It is time over temperature. Wings are one of those things where you got to kind of follow your heart a little bit on them. I'm going to get into this drummy because this is going to be the hardest one to get there. These are cooked. In fact, I would argue they're overcooked, but I like things a little undercooked. Let them drain off a little bit. I would say let the oil recover, but the oil is already still at 365. That's working great. I'm going to get these guys out of their baskets. Very few things make me happier than having baskets this size for a fryer. Gonna go get the other ones and get them in. We have our first batch off. Malcolm and I's fat asses tried one of them. We love them. And that was just with salt, pepper, garlic, naked in the oil. Oil regulation, not as hard as other ones. It does get up there pretty quick, so we were actually a little higher than we want to. We're letting it cool back down because I got a little bit antsy. You will have temperature drop when you put a load of wings in there. No big deal. Handled it really well. I'm going to sauce up these buffalo and this Asian. And we're just going with the Texas Pete buffalo here. Nothing fancy. I never worked at a Hooters, but I've certainly been to plenty of them. So I've seen this tactic done a bunch of times. That smells really good. This is just being kept at temp. This is going to be annoying to do it spoon by spoon, so I'm going to do the messier approach. Make a complete mess out of my induction cooktop. Smaller bowl. Oh, almost lost that one. That one almost went to the front row. All right, we'll get them stacked up over here and have our taste test. All right, we've got our buffalo wings and our Asian zing. I don't know. I'm a flats guy. You may be a drummy guy. We're going here for the buffalo. Wow. So I just used Texas Pete basic sauce. The wings are cooked perfectly. The skin is crispy. You can tell it comes off the bone easy. You can tell I'm fat and I can eat wings. I like every single thing about what happened today. I love that we can do large batches of these. And Malcolm pointed out I now have a holding oven, which we'll talk about in future videos. You could do batch after batch of these and put them in a holding oven and they'd be great. Put that back down since I'm the only one who's eating here. I'm gonna go with the Asian sauce. My wife tasted this, said she thought it tasted a little like teriyaki. The doneness is perfect. The thing about wings, almost all wings are good wings, except for Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings are terrible. And I'll die on that hill, by the way. But these are done absolutely perfectly. The meat's delicious. The skin's crispy. This sauce, for a first time through, was awesome. I thought about putting sesame seeds on it, but I didn't. I don't know which one I like better. I like them both. These are the nakeds. We wanted to do these first so they didn't get cold. When that oil gets back down to temperature, because it's risen up above 400, I probably have shit all over my face too, which looks great, I'm sure. And he's not going to say anything about it because he's an asshole. Temperature gets back down to that 350, 375 mark. We're going to be doing our breaded wings. We've got our breaded wings. You remember the blood feud about naked versus breaded. I have some apprehension because of how much moisture I think may be in these. They say you can't overload on wings. I'm going to do all my drummies first. We'll see if they're full of shit or not. Our oil's a little hotter than we like. We're at about 400, but this is gonna get it to come down. At least that's our theory. 2 batches in, and we're about to have some breaded wings. The naked wings were absolutely stupid good. Now my wife came out and said that she would have liked a little bit more flavor or longer lasting flavor. We didn't put butter in either of these sauces. That's a normal trick to make it adhere better to the wing. Certainly could do that with both of those sauces, the Texas Pete Basic as well as the Asian sauce that I made. The other thing is I usually order, my buddy Malcolm and Elena usually order them wet, so I didn't drizzle any more sauce on them. We were just doing taste tests. So I think as a wing goes, the wings were a huge success. Now we'll see how the breaded wings turn out. We got our breaded wings, and I'm here to tell you, they look damn near sexual. You get some sauce in here. You need more sauce when you have breaded wings, because the sauce will absorb a lot more into the breading. You still want to maintain that crispiness. Try and give them a little bit of a bath. Wish I had a bigger bowl for this side, but Malcolm's trying to hedge his bets by moving out of the way so I don't hit him with them. Don't worry, Malcolm, I won't get you. There's no splash zone here. They look fantastic. Buffalo's easier. The buffalo is a thinner sauce, that Texas Pete. Like I mentioned, I'm actually gonna put some more in here because they already, there's almost none of that sauce left in there. They already absorbed it. I wish I had put some butter in here because that would have made it a little bit stickier. That's probably fine. We'll get these plated up and give it a taste test. Okay, the last taste test of our wing cook-off with our new deep fryer. We've got our breaded wings, we've got our Asian breaded, and our buffalo breaded. I am typically a flat guy, so I'm gonna go into the flat. I'll go Asian first. I don't know if you can see this very well, Malcolm, but these things look absolutely amazing. I think you got some images, some stills. Let's get in here. Listen, there's a reason why I like breaded wings better. Because breaded wings are better. Get a little bit of flake when we eat, but they stayed on during the cook. Didn't see the breading falling off of them during the actual cook. That sauce holds up really, really well to the breading, and I think that the feedback we had earlier from Elena is met with this because the breading held on to more of the sauce. That's a really good wing. All right. I know it seems amazing that I can say this at my girth, but I can't keep eating that one and still eat this. Here we're at the buffalo. I'll let Malcolm zoom in on that one. Thinner sauce, less sticky. Just gonna go right into it. The doneness of the chicken, the crispiness of the skin. I am clearly a buffalo guy. This was a huge success. What I should do is try one of the drummies. The drummies went in a little bit hotter on the oil, so they got darker. You may see in the video. I want to see what those turned out like. A little piggy to do it, but they're done freaking good. All right, I can do this because all these are mine. I probably have shit all over my face again. Thanks for tuning into Old School Eats. If you liked it, like, subscribe. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm not telling you how to do things because I think I know how to do better than anyone else. I'm discovering it along with you guys. This fryer, I think all told, with the fryer and the stand, was like 600 bucks. It was like 120 bucks for the stand. You don't have to buy the stand. It can stand on its own. It will support the 6-gallon version as well. You can get a cheaper one. The Bayou Classic is cheaper. The moral of the story is these deep fryers, because of the way the heating element works, maintain temperature better, give you better regulation, and keep the sediment, the stuff that's at the bottom. I'm gonna do a lot of things with this, fish fries, all sorts of other interesting things. Appreciate you tuning in. Really like the Asian sauce. You saw what I put in it. I'd give you a recipe, but I don't have one. Mix your stuff together, follow your heart, and I'll see you on the next video.